Hey, treasures.
Quite literally.
That's a bit intense. I don't know about you, but through my headphones, I can hear my eldest bonus daughter putting away the dishes. Legend. Thanks, Ali. But also, I can hear her putting away the dishes. And any of you who have kids or bonus kids out there, do they like frisbee the fucking plates into the drawer where it's so loud, like chuck the fucking forks in, where you're like, are you at war with the plates and the cupboards and the drawers? Oh, it's very funny. Anyway, if you can hear clanking and plates almost being smashed, that's that's what it is. But it also might be the headphones, just like last week. I could hear those beautiful birds in my earballs. I hope you're well. I hope you're ace and that you're enjoying your day or evening, whatever time of day it is for you. I wanted to come on today and share with you, I guess, the myriad of things, the myriad of practices that are available to us and that are calling us, and whatever those myriad of practices are, they're going to be different for all of us. We're going to be called to different things that help us stay aligned to our authentic essence, our authentic nature. Because I've said it before and I'll say it again and again and again. We are living with two forces within us, and predominantly we autopilot, wake up in, revert to our ego force, the persona of us, the part of us that has a very right way to do things and there's a very wrong way to do things, the part of us that has a locked in view of self, others, and the world. We typically wake up in that. We typically motion through our day like that. And what is our saving grace is our ability to watch ourselves wake up like that and see, oh, today's going to be a pretty gnarly day if we don't shift this. If we don't come into contact with our authentic self, our true essence. So then what do I need to do or not do, stop doing, in order to come back into alignment, to be in harmony with my authentic nature? And Steve and I were talking about this last night. It was actually kind of cute. We were waiting for one of my friends to come back home and we were going to go over there. And it was getting later and later, and Steve's like, oh, I kind of wanted to have a few drinks and enjoy ourselves. And I was like, well, you and me just do it. The girls were like, I thought you two were going out. And then we ended up sitting out the back in the sun. He had a few beers and I had a few gin and tonics. And we were having these really cool chats. And we were chatting about how it really is an ongoing battle, an ongoing choice battle. Let's even add that in. It's a choice battle of what have I got to do in this moment to zoom the fuck out of my little contained view and ways of the world and myself and of others, so I can zoom out, observe what's happening, look to see if there's a better approach, which there often is, always is. And then with that zoom out and with that awareness of what, okay, here's what I can do to shift myself back into my authentic nature, we then zoom back into our reality and we practice whatever we need to practice. And I talk to my clients a lot about developing a Mary Poppins bag. If you've seen that movie before, Mary Poppins, or if you haven't, Mary Poppins has this bag that is bottomless. And whatever she needs, she'll pull out. If it's raining, she'll search in there and there's a giant umbrella or there's a hat stand or there is a whatever it needs to be for that moment. And along your journey of life, if you are on this path of really wanting to evolve your soul, of really wanting to evolve yourself and go beyond your limited self, I want you to think about, imagine an egg. And inside of that egg, that's your ego. The egg is the ego, right? The shell is the ego. That's the container of who you are, of who your ego thinks you are and how you have to be. And go beyond your limit in this path of really wanting to evolve your soul, of along your journey of life, if you are on this path of really wanting to evolve your soul, of Mary Poppins, or if you haven't, Mary Poppins has this bag to be for that moment. And along your journey of life, if you are on this path of really wanting to evolve your soul, of really wanting to evolve yourself and go beyond your limited self, I want you to think about, imagine an egg and of who you are, of who your ego thinks you are and how you have to be. Beyond that shell, beyond that egg, beyond that ego is life. Life as it is. Others as they are. You as your true essence. Inside that ego, inside the shell, inside the egg, that is where life isn't the way we want it to be. So then we go about manipulating life, controlling life, avoiding life, whatever it is, stressing about life, getting overwhelmed about life, avoiding life. We then look at others, and if we're in that shell, if we're in that ego, that's where we highlight our differences. They're not like me. I'm not like them. They look different to me. That's where we start teasing other people for looking different to us. And that's where separateness is. That's the separateness is inside the egg. It's inside the ego. And on this path of wanting to evolve your soul, you will be called to adopt, practice, embody many tools, many tools. This is why I said in a podcast quite some time ago, whenever people work with me, I need them to know, and I need you to know if you're wanting to work with me, I'm not your last stop, and I shouldn't be. I'm not here to be the only savior of your life. In fact, I'm not the savior of your life. I'm someone who is merely adding to your Mary Poppins toolkit. And you will meet people along the way where you will try and test whatever they have, and you'll think, actually, that doesn't jam with me. That doesn't stick. And you know what? That's cool. That's okay. There are some people out there who will sell the fact that they have the tool and the only thing that needs to be in your Mary Poppins toolkit. And that's where I will say a fucking giant red flag. And then there are others who are here to serve what they can bring to the world and to you and say, hey, I've got some pretty cool stuff that I reckon will really serve you. And there are people out there that will serve your mind, that will serve your soul, that will serve your body, that will serve your emotions. And you know what? Go and investigate all of them. Somatic work, body work, emotion work, mindset work, all of it. Because it's all necessary. It's all necessary to keep you coming into contact and having relationship with your authentic essence. Along the way on that path, knowing what your core values are is really important. Knowing how to tap into yourself and go beyond the egg and zoom out and access information that's beyond, oh, well, this is what's right, this is what's wrong, no, I can't do this, no, I can't do that. When you can zoom out and trust your senses, your intuitive sense, and you start to receive answers beyond the egg, beyond the ego, or you're coming into close contact with your authentic essence because you are in communication with a greater force beyond ego, and along that path, you will learn practices such as meditation. Yoga may be your thing. For me at the moment, what's enhancing me coming into contact with my authentic self, the next layer of my authentic self is Qigong, loving it. My gosh, there is a total different relationship where I'm like, oh my goodness, I am feeling so many different inches of me, so many different, woof. All right, cool. It's the most subtle practice, but it's having such a potent shift. But also across my time, I've delved into kinesiology. I've done tantric work. I've done so much coaching work, mindset work, somatic work, breath work, all those types of things. I look after my body, and all of that keeps me in close contact and proximity to my authentic self because it helps me zoom beyond the egg, the ego. And so where people struggle is they're inside their egg, they're inside their ego, and they're looking out at everyone else, and they're like, how come they seem to be able to do that? How come they seem to be able to do that? And how come I can't do that? And then the egg, the ego, the stories start, well, you can't do that because of this part of you. You can't do that because of that part of you. So in order to get that and go beyond the egg, then you must be perfect first. You need to prove your worth first. You need to be enough first. You need to be whatever first. And inside the egg is all condition. Whereas when you learn how to zoom out and come into contact with that greater force that can give you greater perspective and a bird's eye view of what your next best step is what I teach my clients, how to zoom the fuck out and then come into contact with a greater force, ask themselves a powerful question, and then what's my next best step? They then take their next best step and it starts to expand them beyond the egg, expand them beyond the egg. Now, the really important thing is that that egg is never going to go. The ego is never going to go. It's always going to try and draw you back. I'm 9 years into my business. It'll be 10 years next year. My egg, my story, my ego is like, I reckon you're done, mate. I reckon you're done. It's pulling out all of these stories that it's not working, that you're not successful, that you're not this, you're not that. Nothing's flowing, nothing's going your way. It's the universe saying like, just stop. And you know what? Sometimes there are messages like that, but that is actually coming from a greater force of universal forces, and we've got to listen to that. But I know my egg very well. I know my ego very well. And this is other work that I teach my clients. You got to know that egg. You got to know that ego. You got to know those stories that are always going to try and bring you down. And because I know what it says and how it tries to trip me up and where it tries to make me go, then I'm like, cool, you're full of shit. And I know that what's really required here is to zoom out, reassess, reflect, and get some support, get some help, and see where we can make some shifts, make some tweaks. That's really the answer when I zoom out. But when I zoom in and I'm in the egg, I'm quitting. I'm quitting. I always want out. That's my ego story. I'm always wanting out. I always want an exit out. It's the same with my relationship with Steve. I'm always looking for an exit. My egg is always looking for an exit. So my sharing to you today is One, don't remain inside of that egg, that ego, because that's not all of it. That's not all of you. That's not where your potential lies. That's not where opportunities beyond what your ego says you can have or can't have. It's not where that resides. Beyond your ego, beyond the egg, is life, is your true essence, is so much more, is being with reality, is whatever that journey is for you outside of the egg. And like I said, the second part of today's message is when you take that quest to zoom out, once you've zoomed out and you've brought awareness into your life, it's really hard to shut that fucking thing off. And there are many times, Steve and I were talking about it last night, where we're like, oh, God damn it. Why didn't we come here and be ignorant and just stay ignorant? And I said to him, oh, dude, I mean, depends what you believe, but I believe that we come here to evolve our souls. And if I came here to evolve my soul and I didn't, then that means I'm going to have to reincarnate again. And I don't think I want to do that. So I'm evolving my soul. I will continue to evolve my soul, you know. When you're on that quest, please know that it doesn't end. It doesn't end. We are forever zooming out. We will forever zoom back in and get stuck there for a little bit. And you will forever be applying, firstly trying, applying, and then embodying, if they fit for you, land for you, practices that will continue to help you stay in close proximity to your authentic essence. And so for you, my message is maybe there is something calling you to partake in. Maybe you've thought about working with me for a long time and you're like, fuck. The egg is saying, nah, it's not the right time, maybe later. I don't think you have real problems to take to her. I don't think you're ready. But really what the message is, I don't want to be my authentic self. I don't want to know what that is. Ego's scared, right? Maybe it's to partake in a yin yoga teacher training. Maybe it is to practice whatever it may be. You may be getting some kind of calling to add to your Mary Poppins toolkit. And remember, that's all it is. When you go and do that yin yoga training, when you come and work with me, when you go and work with someone else, you are adding to your Mary Poppins toolkit so that when you venture through life and you come up against something bumpy or rough or difficult, you look in that bag and you reach in and you go, I know what I need right now. I know what I need right now to zoom out, to be the observer, to be aware, to notice. And I know how to tune into myself and access my next best step. I mean, fundamentally, that's it. That is it. That's the work. To realize when we're so deep in our persona, our fake persona, our persona that we want the world to know us as, is to know when we're too deep in that and how it's causing us pain and suffering in ourselves, our relationships, our work, finances, whatever it may be. And then to zoom out. Have tools at the ready. Some of those tools may be to get support. Some of those tools you may have so well embodied, you're like, actually, I now know what I need to do. And sometimes that next best step might be, you know what, I do need to reach out to that person. I do need to reach out to Kat. I do need to start meditating more. I do need to whatever it may be. So that's my real share with you about the work and about how to stay in close proximity to your authentic self and the real journey of it. because I'll never, ever, ever sell it in a way that is, it's difficult, you know, it's ongoing. Yeah, I'll never sell it in such a way it's like, oh, come work with me. And then like 1, 2, 3, you'll feel amazing. I mean, yeah, you will, because you will know how to zoom out. You will know how to access your inner resources. You'll know what your next best steps are. And that's a fucking good feeling. But guess what? When that time ends with me, you're going to continue doing the work, and you're going to learn to trust yourself. You're going to learn to access your own inner resources from that Mary Poppins bag, you know? And that's what I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Whenever you reach out to people or you see people that are really over promising something, just keep your little flags up. Yeah. Because sometimes we might feel so desperate. We might feel so desperate for change that seems, oh yes, that seems good. But the substance and the foundations might be missing. So my message to you today is it worth being in close proximity to your authentic self? Is it worth the journey? Is it worth the zooming out, the zooming in, the Mary Poppins toolkit bag? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Because I, like you, know how painful it is to not be yourself. To be operating in the world as someone you know you're not. To show up to dates, to your relationship, and you're acting in ways that you're like, fuck, why did I do that? And you do it over and over again. Fuck, why did I do that? Why did I do that? And you have a moment of awareness of like, why did I do that? But then bam, you're taken straight back to the egg, and you do it again, and you do it again. And all what's taking place is you're zooming out a little bit. Fuck, why did I do that? Making yourself feel bad, guilty. Promise yourself you'll never do it again. But you got no tools. You've got no Mary Poppins toolkit. And so this is where that definition of insanity comes into play. How the hell is anything going to change if you do the same thing? Oh, why did I do that? I won't do it again. But then you don't want to get support. You don't want to expand. You don't want to learn. You don't want to apply. You don't want to embody. And I get it. Your ego doesn't want that. So it resists it. No, I don't need it. I'm good. I promise I'll do better next time. I promise I'll do better next time. That's insanity. That's suffering. That is actually suffering. And you can end that level of suffering. So is it worth it? Fuck yeah. I promise I'll do better next time. I promise I'll do better next time. That's insanity. That's suffering. That is actually suffering. And you can end that level of suffering. So is it worth it? Fuck yeah. Thanks, legends, for listening to today's episode of the Real Raw Relatable podcast. Today's episode was recorded on the traditional lands of the Bun Warang people, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope it resonated, that it landed with you, and it touched something. Present and emerging. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I hope it landed and resonated with you. If so, I'd love for you to rate the podcast, review it, leave us a comment, which is reviewing it, or send it on to someone who you know could do with hearing today's message. Today's message. If you have a nudge, if you have a call, if you are if you have a call in you, a nudge in you, a desire in you to work with me this coming Sunday, November the 12th, 10 a.m. Australia Eastern Daylight Time, you can be anywhere in the world, and join me for monthly sessions live and online. That session is 90 minutes of talking about a topic of focus that is real, that is raw, and it is relatable. We then take that topic into meditation, journal about it, and then we share. We share our stories live and online. That session is 90 minutes live and online. It's 90 minutes of going in deep, of talking about a topic of focus, taking that into meditation, journaling, and then sharing amongst community. It is a beautiful session to hold sacred space for yourself, to access the answers inside of you, to zoom out of your egg, and to make changes that align with your authentic nature. And that will then serve you, your family, your relationship, your future relationships, and anything else in your life. The topic and theme for this coming monthly session, live and online, is what do you know is good for you, right for you, and true for you? And why aren't you doing it? That's the question that we'll be taking in, zooming out of the egg, accessing the answers internally, and then journaling them out so you can see them in front of you. Because when you see the answers in front of you and then talk about it, share about it, a shift is bound to take place. So that's this coming Sunday, the 12th of November, 10 a.m. Australia Eastern Daylight Time. If you are a Melburnian, the final Zero Fucks Tuesday dance party is on Tuesday, the 21st of November. It's R&B old school classics. Be there. It's R&B old school classics Eastern Daylight Time. If you are a Melburnian, the final Zero Fucks Tuesday dance party is on Tuesday, the 21st of November. It's R&B old school classics. Be there. Old school classics. A night to lighten your load, have some fun, and free some shit. I hope to see you there. Tickets and all these details are down in the show notes. Have a nice week. Lots of love. Peace be with you. Can end that level of suffering. So is it worth it? Fuck yeah. Thanks, legends, for listening to today's episode of the Real Raw Related.